hey, look, this soda machine is nice, but look, 6 inches up and your ice machine might be disgusting and that might need some attention. Feel free to ask the restaurant, hey, when was the last time you cleaned your ice machine?
Hola, what's up, everybody? My name's Adrian Garcia. Welcome back to the Reliable HVACR podcast, brought to you by Jobber, my favorite CRM. If you guys need to get organized, better manage your business, Jobber is a perfect app for that. It's on your phone, it's on your tablet, it's on your computer, anywhere you have internet access, and you can invoice, quote, do your maintenance agreements, schedule jobs, get this customer hub where you can interact with your customers, send out reminders. It does so much for your business to help you free up your time at the end of the day. So if you guys want a free trial and discount, you can go to getjobber.com/reliable HVACR. Then we have VETO Pro Pack. I cannot tell you how many bags that I went through before finding out about this company with these high quality bags. Ever since I switched over, my bags have lasted so much more. I love the variety and the different uses for these bags. I mean, you can get creative with it. So like I said, go check out vetopropack.com. Go look for a bag for yourself. Right now they're having a spring promo. It's basically buy one, get one free. So take advantage of that. You won't regret it. Now, if you guys are listening to this on audio podcast, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to it, please leave a 5-star review. I would really appreciate that. If you're on YouTube, make sure you subscribe, like, and comment this video if you enjoyed it. And I hope you guys are enjoying the podcast. I really love doing this. Great way to meet and talk to a lot of these guys, get their stories out. And I appreciate you guys for tuning in and making this what it is. On this episode, we have Jeff, also known as Ice Machine 411. You can find him on YouTube. You can find him on Instagram. A lot of insightful stuff. He's dedicated to showing all makes and models of different ice machines, maintenance, service, troubleshooting. It's really cool to see that side of things. It's something I wish I would have had when I started. So make sure to go check him out. I'll leave all of his information in the description. Now enjoy the episode. All right, Jeff, how are you, man?
I'm doing good, Adrian. What's up, man?
Not much, man. I stumbled upon your channel. So I've already told a few people to go check you out. Ice Machine 411 is the YouTube channel that you got going on.
Yeah.
It's very helpful, man. I used to do a lot of ice machines. I'm very rusty right now. Like, I haven't worked on too many recently, and nobody does maintenance. So it's not something that I come across too much. But it's very helpful because, like, when I started, I wish there was like all this YouTube stuff that you can look up, because I ran into so much, dude. Like, when I started, it was because I do a lot of hospital work and obviously restaurant, like fast food stuff.
Yeah.
But when I started, it was a lot of Hoshizaki and a lot of what was the other brand? Follett. And I didn't know how they worked at all. I was like learning on the fly. So it's really cool that you have the channel going.
Good. Awesome. I'm glad that it's helping. That's really the main reason why I started doing it was to help. I have a couple of coworkers that will call me, hey man, I'm working on, fill in the blank. And I'm like, hey, just give me a second. And I'll go to my channel, find the video that I've already recorded, and I'll just send them the link and I'm like, hey, watch this 8-minute video and then call me back if you have any questions. And they'll call me back and like, hey, that was perfect. Cool. I got it figured out. Thanks. So
that's awesome because well, I've talked to you and you helped me with a little bit of resources and stuff like that through text.
Yeah.
Because I was working on a newer ice machine. We just started seeing the 410A Manitowocks. I've never come across those before. They got those Samsung compressors in there, and I've never worked on it. We did get it going. Bad compressor. I don't know what killed it. Didn't find anything else wrong with it. Just did what the manufacturer wanted and got it up and going,
Yeah. Is that how it is? Could have been anything. Low pressure control, fan cycle.
That's what we checked. We went through everything because even I was with a coworker and he was the one, because my coworker does most of the ice machines just because he's in that location a lot, like those that have the ice machines. And I went through with him and everything. Like, He's like, is the fan cycle? I'm like, yeah, fan cycle's working. The pressures look good after we started it up, because the old one just didn't want to start, and it would overheat immediately. I mean, that has to do with like basically the internals of the compressor. It could be the windings or anything like that.
Yeah, something's jacked up in there.
And could be just, they don't make them like they used to either. That was helpful, the resources you sent me and stuff like that, because that's the cool thing, like I said, about now is everything's online. You can get a lot of resources if you just look for it, and channels like yours are super helpful.
Good. I'm happy to help when people reach out. Like when you were texting me, like that was easy to try to help you out. But when you're not there in person, it is really hard. And then especially when we were messaging, I was actually in the middle of the maintenance myself. So like I would get sidetracked. And I'm like, oh crap, I need to, respond to his message. And then I'm trying to like diagnose through text what you're telling me and still do my job at the same time. So I was talking to a guy from Bahrain or something, and he emailed me. He was like, hey man, this is my problem. And I was like, all right, I mean, I'll give you, maybe 1 or 2 messages, but then I'm starting to just, hey, here's the number to tech support.
Yeah.
I'll try my best to help you out, call them, tell them your issues. They're way more helpful than I am. So, I mean, when you can actually get them on the phone, but
I was gonna say, when you got time to wait, that's a good thing to do. Call manufacturer. I think I had an issue with a Manitowoc, and it's just like we're at work, and like I get it. Like I try to help a lot of guys over the phone as well, and I find it extremely difficult. Like I always tell people, like, I'm sorry, I can't. Right, I need to be there. It's just something about being there and actually touching it and going through it and doing it on your own. You end up thinking of things that you wouldn't think of over the phone. Like it's hard to explain. So I appreciate like just talking me through a few things, because I was like, man, I've never seen this. I wonder if you had come across anything like that, because that's usually the benefit of tech support with other techs. Like when you got buddies that do the same thing and stuff like that, you might just need to think out loud, have a conversation back and forth, and then you're like, oh, I didn't check this, or I didn't look at that. And then you figure it out, right? So that's always helpful.
Yeah. And sometimes there's like one bit of information that if it was just shared with me, I'm like, oh, it's that 100%.
Oh, yeah.
So I was talking to, it was actually an ex-coworker of mine who's now kind of doing his own thing, but he called me and was like talking to me about this machine, and we were going through everything and all the possibilities and this and that. And then he was like, oh, it's super weird. Like my compressor is all frosted up on the suction line. And I was like, freaking TXV, dude, come on. Like you should have told me that 20 minutes ago. But
yeah, that was a little bit of important information left out right there.
Yeah.
That happens. And even I've done that on that end, like where I'm like, oh, forgot to give you like, the full side of it.
Yeah.
Might have talked about the condenser and I forgot to tell you what the evaporator was doing. Maybe it's iced up or something like that. So
exactly.
Been there plenty of times, and I've done the tech support on both sides, and it's difficult. But with I just had that not too long ago, and I think I made a video on it. Actually, me trying to take the phone calls from Manitowoc. They took like a day to get back to me, and all I needed, I think, was like a breakdown and kind of because I wasn't familiar with that model. But I ended up later, like when I got out, because like at work, you're kind of busy to be looking up stuff or looking for the manual or something like that. And I had other calls to get to. And I was like, we're not going to fix it today, because it's in my, my customers, a lot of these ice machines are in the drive-through, right? So they're,
oh yeah, terrible.
They're the worst location, right? Like to do a major repair, because it's like they have it up on a counter and it's usually like touching the ceiling and stuff. And you got to move ceiling tiles and everything if you ever need to change out like any of the valves, the solenoids, stuff like that. So
yeah,
before I did all that and scheduled it, I was trying to get a breakdown of it, because I needed to know like where these valves were and what to check or how to check them. Because I was like, I don't know, I see a valve over here, but like I wasn't familiar with it. And they took like a whole day to respond. So I was like, nah. When I got out of work, I went online. It's easy. Just go look for a breakdown, model, serial number, and then that's your best bet to do it. Yeah. But I used to try and do it at work, and it's easier now, right? There's Parts Town. There's different places you can get breakdowns. So it's pretty.
Town is up and coming. Like It used to be Manitowoc website or
Yeah.
Hockey website. Now everyone just go to Partstown to have everything. So good for them.
Yeah, my dad showed me that one because there's a lot of hot side stuff on there too, because he does like the fryers and steamers and all that other side, and it like has everything. So he showed it to me once, and I was like, okay. And I've seen it evolve, and it's actually been really good lately. They even have like an app and everything.
Yeah.
Breakdown, part numbers. I just go there. I kind of go there first to see if they have it, and I'll get it and try and order the valves or whatever I need.
Do you know if they carry the user manuals on Partstown as well, or is it just parts breakdown, wiring diagrams, and stuff like that?
They do have user manuals, and sometimes they'll have like the troubleshooting and the installation manuals too.
Yeah, right on. I think I'm probably going to download that app here in the next couple days. I've been thinking about it, but it's such a habit to go to ManitowocIce.com or FollettIce.com or Hashizaki America, whatever it is, and it's all like embedded into my brain. If I just cut out all those different websites, have one-stop shop, probably make my life a little easier.
Yeah, like when you were sending me the other websites, I'm the other way around. I'm so used to Partstown that I forget to check, the official website.
Yeah.
Because I can get away with it most of the time. So yeah, it's a good app. I know a lot of kitchen guys, like I said, use it because it's like any kitchen equipment you can find in there, basically.
Yeah.
And then I guess like for air conditioning, I don't know, like I'll ask you right now, but because I don't know what kind of work you do. For air conditioning, I think Blue On has that on lockdown, because like any AC, like rooftop split system, anything like that, if you go to Blue On, they're kind of like the Partstown for the HVAC side, because it's like breakdowns and part numbers, and I think you can order parts on there now. So there's a lot of cool apps that are out now, and we need to take advantage of those.
I think I've been on Blue On before, but I don't remember why. I think I may have heard it on some YouTube video, or maybe it was like an ad popped up and I decided to download it, check it out, but it was definitely more HVAC and not ice machine / refrigeration. So
I know we have Partstown, so hopefully they just keep improving it, because I told people, because I've talked to people that do or that use Blue On, right? Because they work with supply houses and stuff like that. So like if you order through Blue On, like a supply house near you will bring you the part and everything to the job site. And it's a lot of cool stuff. And I'm like, we need that on the refrigeration side, right? Like get us something that has that capability that does like ice machines, freezers, stuff like that. Because I that's mostly what I do. I'm a refrigeration tech, and that's what I deal with like day to day. This podcast is presented by Local. Local works tirelessly to help HVAC contractors rank higher on Google. They use an attack methodology to make sure that contractors dominate their local service areas and increase their market share and generate higher revenue. Reach out to Local at localhq.com/reliable. Mention me or the Reliable HVACR podcast, and you'll get 2 months of SEO for free. Do you guys know who the inventors of the fluorescent leak detection is? Trusted and used by many manufacturers for over 70 years. SPECTROLINE leak detection, the highest quality and brightest fluorescent leak detection products on the market. Get the job done right with their 2-in-1 premium UV dye and powerful AC sealant Glow Seal. I've actually used it. You can extend the lifespan of your equipment, find and seal the smallest and hardest to find leaks. It works 24/7. Once it's in, it's always on. This product works when you're not there. The only focused leak detection company with success in many industries, because believe it or not, it's in most vehicles out on the road right now. So if you guys want to find out more, go to SPECTROLINE.com and let me know what your favorite leak detection method is.
I'm sure something's going to come out. I've told you, I think before we started recording, I've only been doing this for 4 years. And I think just from 2020 when I started to 2024, I've seen changes from, like we were talking about Partstown, and then the different manufacturers that are coming out with new tech support tools. I think Icematic, I've never used it, but I think they said they have like an app that you actually get on a video call on your phone with tech support. So instead of you're just talking to them on the phone, it's you hold up your phone and the person that you're talking to tech support is all right, turn your camera, look at this.
Oh
That's
yeah.
there I'm talking about, or that's the solenoid. So like I said, I've never used it, but I think that was the idea when they told me to download it.
I think that's the new direction because I had a sponsor like not a few years, a couple months ago that wanted me to try their app, and that's kind of the direction they were going with it. They were trying to do, or they were trying to help with the or the tech support on like either you with uh, a worker of yours, right? If I'm trying to help one of my technicians out, we can do like a video call through, and it wasn't even an app. I think it was just like a link, or maybe it was an app for me, but I could send them a link and they didn't have to download an app or anything like that. And the link would just take them to a website and it would use the camera to do all the visuals, right? You can and several apps do this. So there's, I think even Blue One's getting into it too, where you are basically FaceTiming, but you can draw on the screen and kind of circle like, oh, check this part or check this, or take screenshots on your side on their phone and stuff like that. Like all that tech support stuff is really
Yeah.
cool. We're moving into that direction, and then the whole AI stuff. I've seen it pop up in everything that I have now. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, we got AI this or AI that now.
Yeah, I sometimes think about the people who came before us and all the stuff that they had to memorize and have locked in their head. Where now I don't memorize anything. I take that back. I memorize where to go to find the info, but the actual process of how to test each component, I don't have it memorized. I just know it's in this book on this page. Well, I don't have the page number, but I can open the book and just and I'm like, oh, okay, I'm going to do that real quick and then go do it. I don't have, to waste all my storage space in my brain with
Yeah, I remember having
troubleshooting.
because we would go to the Manitowoc and I think maybe the Scotsman. I can't remember what training classes we would have locally. I think it was, yeah, Manitowoc and Scotsman that would come, and I would just collect those books, right? Those manuals that they give out, and I would have them stashed in my van and just go and look for it. But I, like you said, you've been doing it 4 years. I've been doing it 16 years now.
Holy.
So I was in that in between era, right, where it's like there's nothing online. You got to find out from the manufacturer, from a buddy, or
Mhm.
the physical manual, right? That's how I had to learn when I started. And then we transitioned because I've always been a tech person, like a tech savvy person. Like I've always been into computers, smartphones, all that stuff. So like as soon as my iPhone could like use the internet or a web browser or anything like that, or I had a laptop that did that, like tablets and stuff, I was like Googling everything that I could. And like it was very scarce at the beginning when I started, to now where it's like you can input a model number even in Google search and find something that pops up, right? A manual will pop up, a breakdown,
Yeah.
and now a YouTube video will hopefully pop up, you know?
Yeah. Well, that's the goal.
Um, so let's get into that a little bit. Like, well, first, how you've been doing it 4 years, you mentioned it, is that the first like the current job you have, is that the first HVAC or refrigeration job you've had?
Yeah. Yeah. So it's actually kind of I want to say a funny story, just kind of the way things happen. But so I was in the military at one point in time, and I was offered classes, or most people were offered classes of, hey, you're getting ready to get out. What you're doing in the service may not be what you want to do when you leave the service. So here's some classes you can take to kind of set you up for success. And that HV, I forget what it was called, HVAC 1, HVAC 2 kind of trade school certificate is what I ended up getting. And it's kind of funny that the instructor told me, or told the class at one point in time, hey, the next chapter in the textbook is on ice machines. You're never going to work on ice machines, so go ahead and skip that chapter, and we're going to work on whatever they talked about. So I went to school for whatever it was, like 6 months or something like that. And only learned about package units and heaters and stuff like that, stuff that I don't even remember. And then when it came time to actually like get into the career field, it was June of 2020, and it was a real bad time for the HVAC world because no one wanted anyone in their house, and everything was shut down. And I ended up getting an apprentice position or a trainee position at an ice machine rental company. And so it's half and half. It's an ice machine rental / ice machine service with a very, very small amount of refrigeration.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah, so I went in and I learned that, and I had always kind of planned on leaving and going either doing residential HVAC, commercial HVAC, or just strictly refrigeration, or a mixture of the both. Didn't really matter, but my original plan was get experience so that somebody else would be willing to hire me, get more experience to where then I can leave and I can buy a van and do it on my own. That was kind of like my game plan. And then started talking to all these guys that, like yourself, had 16 years in the trade, and they had come from residential or had come from commercial HVAC or commercial refrigeration. And they just like, oh, I hate it. I don't ever want to go back. This is such a great place to be because the rush isn't there as much with ice machines, because you can always go to the gas station and buy a couple bags of ice, or go to the grocery store and buy a couple bags of ice. I didn't really believe them at first, and I still kind of had that in my head of, all right, I'm still going to leave. I'm still going to go try it out. But now almost 4 years in, and other life events and the current company I'm with, the structure kind of changed to where, the employees have an ownership stake in the company, whereas opposed we were just employees working for the company owner. It just kind of changed my mindset. All those different things were like, hey, just stick it out. And seems to be working out good so far. So
that's interesting. That's awesome, because somebody or a couple of guys have mentioned, like, what if more companies did that whole like ownership stake and stuff like that to help their employees and retain, that's always a thing. Like you said, a lot of techs go into it, or at least when they start, well, no, it's like throughout their career, like, what's the next step? What's the next company? What's the next part, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, you can always have aspirations, because my dad did it. My dad started our company. You can always have aspirations to do your own thing. Like, that's always going to be there, or like it's always obtainable. But like, I don't know if you want to be that guy jumping company to company like every couple of years or anything like that. So when you find a good one, just get as much experience as you can, right? Like what you're doing right now, and benefiting from it in different ways. And I was going to ask you, like, what does your company do? Because I see that you're just posting ice machine, and your channel, for what it's worth, is called Ice Machine 411. And I'm like, do they really only do ice machines? So you're a rental company then that rents out, kind of?
It's half and half.
Rental and service?
Yeah, rental and service.
Do you guys do new installs or anything like that?
We do new installs of ice machines. We do new installs of walk-in boxes. We do like I said, like we bill ourselves as an ice machine only company.
Yeah.
But some manufacturers, some of our customers, we built relationships with them to the point where it's like, hey, you know what, we'll make an exception for you.
Sure.
So we have a handful of places where we go in and we do all their reach-ins and all their walk-in refrigerators and walk-in freezers. But for the most part, if anyone calls us, we'll refer them to one of our cross-town refrigeration companies that we kind of have a working relationship with, and we trust them to, not give us a bad name because we're referring them business, and we trust them to do a good job. And if we referred them to somebody who wasn't very good, then my company would
reputation is
bad rap. So
yeah, reputation is king. A lot of our stuff is word of mouth and all that. So we kind of deal with the same thing. We were trying to, or we are like kitchen based. So like anything that they cook with or anything refrigeration side, that's what we are marketed towards, advertised. Like that's what we that's how we operate.
Yeah.
I started getting like requests to do like the ACs and other things like that. So then like, yeah, we'll start doing that. But stuff that I don't want to do, we do try to network. I always tell people to network with your own trade, right? Your own HVAC trade or like other trades. Because we do I don't do residential, and I don't ever want to, honestly. That's just a personal preference. I've always liked being on rooftops and stuff like that. So I have buddies that I'll refer like other work to that I don't want to do, honestly. And then we also have like electricians and plumbers that we talk to that we feel comfortable enough to be like, oh, you need something in your breaker box, you need something in the parking lot, a new light or whatever. We have those referrals that we can count on, and they're really good at what they do. And in turn, that gets you work too every now and then when they have to refer like an HVAC guy or whatever. So like you said, relationships between customers is important. And then other, like when you network with other guys in your trade and stuff like that.
Yeah, and 100% agree. I think the refrigeration is fun, and I really, really, really wanted to learn it when I first started. And like I was telling you earlier, all my coworkers were like, "Oh no, we hate it. Stay away. You're going to get that midnight call. You're going to get that 2:00 in the morning call of, my freezer is warming up and I've got thousands of dollars of product in there. And no matter what you're doing, you have to go." And I've dabbled in it a little bit. And now I've gotten to the point where I can go to an ice machine and, 9 times out of 10, I can figure it out relatively quick. But then I go and I work on I went and worked on what was it called? It's a Structural Concepts. It's like you go to like an Arco gas station and they have those like the open refrigerated units where you can just grab stuff off.
Oh, okay, yeah. And
they sent me out to work on one of those things, and I'm like sitting there scratching my head, like I have no idea what the hell is going on with this. So it was fun, but their tech support was on point. I called them.
Oh, okay.
Within like 2-3 minutes, guy walked me through step by step, figured it out, and I was out of there. So
no, it's cool because every different kind of equipment has a different way of doing things, right? So like a lot of open case stuff, you got to take into account either outside ambient or curtains, like the air curtains, stuff like that. And the way it cools things is very different. It even in refrigeration, even on like the stuff that I work on, like reach-in, under counter stuff, walk-in boxes, and those open cases, it really depends also on the customer and how they stock things, right? That thing has to be stocked correctly or it's not going to work right. There's a lot of things that I have to educate the customer on their own equipment, right? Like prep coolers, like I said, reach-ins, little things that they keep out in front. I'm like, please don't block the fan for one, please keep the lids closed, on the open top type of coolers and stuff like that. And then like, don't leave it half stocked, fully stock it, stuff like that. It's just like every different equipment that you come across, there's little different, things that make it work the way it should be. What do you guys do when you don't have enough wires to run that fancy new Wi-Fi thermostat? Well, you can turn to FastStat. They have these wire extenders that'll help you save time and money where it's almost impossible to run brand new thermostat wiring. Common Maker, it provides a common connection for Wi-Fi thermostats, and it can provide any of the R, C, and W connections, even with a 2-wire thermostat, which is pretty mind-blowing. So if you need any additional control wire, you can get functions such as Y1 and 2, W1 and 2, G, OB, etc. They have different models depending on what you need. There's no batteries, no programming required. It's not wireless or anything. It just plugs into the existing wires. If you have 2 wires or any amount available to you and you need more, all FastStat models come with a free replacement lifetime warranty. They really believe in their product. You can find these at any supply house. Just ask for the FastStat. I'll leave all the information in the description, and you can go to faststat.com. That's fast-stat.com to find out more. I also want to thank DIVERSITECH. They simplify your work. They have everything a contractor needs to complete a job. That goes from equipment mounting, condensate, management, tools, maintenance chemicals, electrical components, indoor air quality, and much more. If I go look at my van, like half of the stuff, including parts, is from a DIVERSITECH branch. They have different branches under the same umbrella. More than likely, you're already using some of their products or tools. So go check out diversitech.com, and it's your one-stop shop for everything HVAC. So why did you start your YouTube channel?
Like I said before, it was to record things that I see on a regular basis, so that when somebody new comes in and they run into an issue, I can send them the link. And then I think it was also because there's a lot of channels that I would go on. Actually, so I'll back up. When I was first learning, YouTube was a great resource. Like,
okay,
I would just go to YouTube and type in Manitowoc or type in Hashizaki or fill in the blank, and I would just watch all these videos. But I started to notice that it was, ice machines are kind of like the other part of the HVAC.
Yeah, like it's almost glossed over a little bit, because I was gonna say like I've been doing this longer than the YouTube's been around, but when I would binge watch and I got into YouTube, right, there's like Chris Stevens HVACR videos, there's NorCal Dave, Tito Vlogs was doing a little bit of ice machines. There's all these channels. HVACR Survival does a lot of stuff. There's a lot of these channels that do ice machines, and they have pretty good videos, especially Chris, like detailed videos.
Mm-hmm.
But you got to look for them, right? Like you got to really search for them, or that's not what they primarily do. Most of them do HVAC or something else. So that's why I was pretty intrigued when you had an ice machine dedicated channel like that. I thought that was cool. Like you said, it's been done, but it hasn't been done like that, like central focus type of deal.
Only ice machines. And that's, like I was saying, it's HVACR. I mean, obviously HVAC is what it is, and you have your refrigeration, and then ice machines, in at least my opinion, are somewhere between an appliance repair company and refrigeration. It's kind of in the middle, and nobody really did it dedicated. And then I also heard somebody say something along the lines of your life is content, when they were talking about, everyone should have a YouTube video, or everyone should have a YouTube channel. Your life is content. What you do on a daily basis is the content. You don't have to do anything extra. Just record what you're already doing, and boom, there's your channel. And then I was like, light bulb. Okay, cool. There's not a channel for ice machine specific content. I work on ice machines almost exclusively. Why not record what I do on a daily basis, throw it online, see what happens? And it worked out. And then you get into the, you're really, really good at this. I've watched your videos, and your recording and your editing and your music and all that stuff is super awesome. And I go back just 6 months ago, I think, is when I recorded my first video, and it was very terrible.
I hate watching my first videos. Yeah.
Yeah. So recording, up and down, and it's all grainy, and why am I zooming in on this thing that no one can even, know what I'm looking at? So it's been fun. And it
took me a while to get into it too, because like I kind of just dove into it, and I started around the whole 2020 time where everybody was just at home, right? So like I had a little bit of extra time and stuff like that. But yeah, I hate watching the first videos I posted up. Even if they did well, I was like, why, Yeah.
But I kind of look at the YouTube thing. I don't like video games. I just say that. Like my son, he loves playing video games, and I love that he loves watching playing video games, but I hate playing. He'll ask me to play up like, look, bro, I don't like video games. I'm not gonna do it. But YouTube is kind of like a video game to me, where it's like it's just a game. Like you record, you get to play around with your edits and try to make something cool, and then you get to share it with somebody. And obviously there's the monetization thing that comes later down the road, which is an added benefit. But like instead of sitting at home wasting my days watching TV or playing video games or doom scrolling on Instagram, I'm just sitting there clicking and edit and cut and paste and upload, see what happens. And it's like, it's cool. It's helpful.
And being helpful. Yeah. Yeah. Because I'm the same way. Like I have so much on my plate right now that I'm trying to do just to try and get the brand that I've been doing up. And
it's really awesome so far. I very, like I said before, I don't mean to fanboy on you, but your channel is pretty awesome. It's got great content. And when you do those scenes where it's just you working and you just have the music playing, it's awesome.
I'm trying to do more of that because I've experimented. I mean, I'm pretty happy where it's at right now. Like,
yeah,
it needs to be like, it needs to be me, right? Like anybody that does a channel, like it has to represent like you and who you are. It took me a while to get very comfortable in front of the camera too. Like I wasn't like I said, I hated my first videos, but just to go on the YouTube topic for a little bit, I used to try and emulate a lot of the other guys on there, right? Like Chris Stevens and like I said, Tito Vlogs, NorCal Dave, all those guys. But I'm not them. I'm me. I'm myself, right? So it took me a while to be like, okay, I'm gonna do it my own way and this and that. And then, it kind of took off a little bit. And recently I've been trying to post more because I also do that HVAC nights group, and the other guys in that group were like, you just need to post more and this and that. So like I credit them for that because I was trying to post like once a week or something like that. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to do the whole month of April and just post every day. And in that time, I've learned, like you said, like every day is content for you, right? Like,
yeah.
I'm just starting to post like stuff that happens on a daily, whether it's running errands or running a business or going out to a call and then having something go wrong, like anything that pops up, like I'm starting to just record and post.
Yeah,
And
some of those guys you talk about, I didn't mean to step on your
no, go ahead.
Anyway, some of those guys are just like, it's time to clean out the van. Like,
oh yeah.
like I didn't think that was something that people wanted to see, but obviously it is. And cleaning your van out every once in a while is part of the job, keep stuff organized. So
it's like I'm gonna use Curtis as an example, HVAC guy, because we talk in a group chat and stuff, and he's like, I don't know, he's like, I'm just posting and you guys need to post more. Like he's been real encouraging, and I'm like, well, he's been doing the whole posting daily longer than any of us because I just started doing that. Like I never did daily content.
Yeah,
he's done daily content. He's like at 55,000 subs or something like that. He's up there. And I'm like, yeah, that's a lot of hard work, right? That's another job that you got, editing and all that, recording, that stuff like that. But he had always from the start just been himself and like talked through the camera, like if you're there with him and stuff like that. And I'm like, Kurt, it's because like everybody feels like they know you, like they love you or love watching you through your videos. So like he'll post. Like right now he's working on his porch and I don't know what in his backyard, and he started posting about it. He gets a crap ton of views just because people love tuning in and seeing what he's up to, So
nice.
That's an important part just to get, if you do content, like I've encouraged a lot of guys that ask me about it. If you do content, it's just you're I mean, I don't know if to call it a vlog style, but you're showing stuff at work through like what you do daily and how you do it, how you handle yourself daily. And it's beneficial to somebody, right? Like somebody out there is working on the same kind of equipment that you're working on or has the same issue. I've had so many people like months later, a year later from a video that I've done. Oh man, I just ran into this today and I was looking it up and I found your video and it was helpful. And that's the cool stuff.
Yeah, definitely. It's kind of like do you want to just record what you're doing, or do you want to record something that's going to be helpful to somebody? And you have to kind of like think about that when you're doing it. A lot of my days are, I just go around and clean ice machines, right? So I'm like half just the cleaning guy, and then half the time I'm fixing broken machines or changing out compressors or evaporators or whatever, and deciding what's going to be the most bring the most value to those who are watching is something that I think about. So
Yeah, man, and I appreciate the kind words for the channel and stuff. Like I said, I have a lot on my plate right now, but it is a hobby. It is fun for me. That's why I do it. Like I've always and I watch a lot of YouTube too. So like I guess that's what I like to watch is like the stuff, work stuff. And I'll watch other things on YouTube. Like I don't even watch cable too much anymore, honestly, except for like sports or anything.
Yeah.
And I've just gone like to YouTube to get entertainment or anything like that, or get ideas or anything like that. And then I go and sit on the computer and just edit or do something that has to do with either my channel or work.
I think YouTube is going to be what cable was. I mean, it's gone that way so far, and I've spent more time on YouTube watching videos recently than I've spent on Netflix or HBO or whatever, Hulu, whatever it is. I've just been on YouTube. You can watch videos about anything and everything, and it's just as entertaining, if not more so.
Yeah, there's a lot of great YouTubers because like I used to watch more tech stuff, like stuff on laptops, teardowns, or smartphones, because I used to fix smartphones on the side too. I almost did a channel on that too, but then I got out of it. But yeah, like I've always loved watching stuff on YouTube. My girlfriend, when we met, I had gotten into it, and I got into it because of my son. I was like, "What are you doing on YouTube?" He just found it entertaining because he would watch like video game stuff or cartoons and stuff like that. And I'm like, okay. Then I got sucked into it, right? And my girlfriend was like, she thought it was like the weirdest thing, right? Because she's watching TV like Netflix or whatever, and I'm there watching YouTube. I was like, no, it's like either I learn something or I just get a little entertainment out of whatever I'm watching. So that's that whole thing, especially during COVID. I binge watched like so many HVAC videos just because I missed working so much. I don't know. Like I don't know if I'm weird like that, but yeah.
No. I have a coworker who said a funny story about when his wife was giving him a hard time about you go to work and you do this all day, and then you come home and you watch other people do the same thing you just did all day. Why? And he's like, I enjoy it. I mean, what's wrong with it? I mean, everyone likes what they like.
You gotta do what you love, right? So like a lot of people in our trade, I mean, some people hate it, but a lot of them love it. And I was one of those guys that, like I said, even before YouTube, because I'm that old, I was looking up manuals or looking up or reading manuals, physical manuals after work, because it bugged me if I didn't know something. Like I did all this stuff after work, off the clock. And now, like you said, it is a little bit easier. Like you were saying, you don't know how like people back in the day did it. I mean, it is easier now, and I almost find it like too easy sometimes. I feel a little weird at work because I'm like, man, that went a little too easy, right?
You put in the work, you've got the skill, and that's why you get paid the big bucks, because you took the time to make it through the not so fun parts of learning it. now you're
yeah, man, it's a different, it is different if you just put in the work. Like every day you're not going to see the difference day to day, but like if you look back on yourself like 5 years from now or 10 years from now, like I'm looking back at all the mistakes, all the dumb things that I did when I started, like you're a completely different tech, like down the line if you put the work into it.
When I was just learning, I remember I walked up on a unit and I had the guy that was teaching me how to do the job, like he walked up and he was like, all right, I know what's wrong with it. Like within 10 seconds of standing in front of the machine, he's like, oh, I know what's wrong with it. And I said, oh, what? And he's like, oh, figure it out. And he stood there and watched me, stumble over myself for 20 minutes before I figured out what it was. Fast forward, 3.5 years later, I'm the guy that's showing, the new guy how to do it. And we walk up on the machine. It's the same exact scenario, just now I'm the one saying, oh, I know what's wrong with it. Now you go ahead and try to figure it out, and I'll try to point you in the right direction without giving away the answer, because I want you to have that aha moment. So then you're always going to remember that,
Oh yeah. Like that'll stick with you. Cause, I had it. I mean, I've talked about it before, but I had it a little bit different because I went to school for it, and it was my dad's, or he needed a refrigeration guy. So I went to school for it. I got my license as quickly as I could. I had that within the first 4 to 5 years. And then I jumped into it with him. Now we did have like subcontracting, like refrigeration guys, or we hired a guy that could do that kind of work for us at the beginning. But other than that, like I didn't work with anybody that did this. Like the guy that I had to get experience from to sign off to get my license and all that, like he was a residential guy. I just needed, somebody to sign off for my test.
Yeah.
And so I learned stuff that I don't really work on right now. So when I was in the field, I learned everything on the fly. My dad was like, we need you to do it. We didn't want to like have too much of the subcontracting or trying to get somebody else to do it and stuff like that. Like that wasn't really an option. Like I was always learning on the job, in front of the customer, in front of everybody, like figure it out. And all those moments that, like you said, like the aha moments, or the days that beat you up, that get you down and all that, like when you finally fix it or you figure it out later on, or even like I used to get embarrassed a lot because I wouldn't be able to fix something right away, or it would take me hours, or like I would have to come back the next day. I would really hate that. And it would keep me up, and I would just end up trying to look up answers online or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I remember the most. All those tough situations that helped me, like you said, be who I am now, right? Like you too. Like you've been in it 4 years, and now you're the guy training. I was gonna ask if you train guys too now, because you go through all that, and then now you kind of get to that level where you're better about it and all that, or you're quicker or whatever it is, you're more efficient, but you remember all those tough times, like they stick with you.
Yeah. I definitely helped train some of the newer guys. We're a smaller company. We're like 6 techs deep, and most of the techs have been there for the last 4 years. So it's not a lot of training, and we don't have a lot of turnover, which is nice, but you definitely get those opportunities to kind of show the ropes and whatnot. But yeah, I mean, it's been fun.
So then, like for you, when you started there and you were doing ice machines, like you just mentioned, they had you figure it out not on your own, but they had you figure it out when you went up to a machine with somebody. Was it hard for you to learn the ice machine stuff? Because a lot of people, they hate ice machine work. Like a lot of refrigeration guys, a lot of HVAC guys, guys that don't see it that often, they hate it. They hate when they get those calls. They find it dreadful, painful, all that stuff. Like, was it hard for you to learn all that?
Yes, it was. And I can relate with the HVAC guys who don't like ice machine calls, because I feel like I would be the same way if I got sent on an HVAC call, because it's not something I ever see. I don't know what I'm doing. And it's almost like it takes you back to when you were the new guy and you had all that stress on you of, I don't know what I'm doing. I look like a dummy. Everyone's judging me. The customer's upset at me because I'm here to fix their machine, but I'm on the phone with tech support for an hour. That whole kind of feeling. It's probably similar to where those HVAC guys, they don't have a lot of experience on ice machines, so they hate the ice machine calls, where it's the same thing for me. I don't have the refrigeration experience, so I kind of dread those calls, but at the same time, you have to put yourself in those uncomfortable situations or you're never going to learn anything. You're just going to have that one small little skill set. You're not going to be, a universal tech. You're going to be, he just does ice machines. Don't send him on any other calls. He's only the ice machine guy. But yeah, I've definitely had long nights of, like you said, reading the manual at home. I don't know that first year, how many nights I fell asleep with the manual on my chest in bed, and it was because I didn't like the idea of being the new guy who didn't know anything.
Yeah, that's what always got me too.
Yeah, so I was like, as fast as I can, I need to learn this so that people look at me as this is the guy that knows what he's doing, instead of, well, we can't send Jeff on that job because he doesn't know anything. We can't send Jeff on that job because he doesn't know anything. Where now it's like, send Jeff on whatever job you want because he'll show up and figure it out. So that's what I wanted to be, and that's what I am. So
yeah, that was always the thing with me too. Like, yeah, you're gonna be embarrassed. You're gonna feel a certain type of way when you start because you don't know anything. Like, that's just reality.
yeah.
But you got to be comfortable with it. I've heard people say, be comfortable not knowing things, be comfortable like calling tech support, whatever it is. Like, just you're gonna feel embarrassed, but make sure you do something about it, I guess. Get comfortable asking for help and all that, because that's how you're gonna learn. That's how you're gonna get through those first like rough times.
Yeah.
Like for you, I don't know how long until you thought like it clicked for you. Like, was it after a year, 2 years? What was it?
When you say click, is it kind of like the same of like, I don't wake up every day and dread going to work because I don't know what I'm doing? Is that the click? Probably like 2 years. 2 years of just straight ice machines, to where it might have been before that, but when it actually kind of hit me, where it's like, oh, I'm good at this now. Like, I'm not miserable every day I go to work because I'm afraid of what might happen or what scenario I might find myself in where I don't know the answer, to where now it's like, oh, what am I doing tomorrow? Okay, cool. Sounds good. And then I can hang up the phone with the office, go home, not think about what I have to do the next day, where early on it was, hey, we're sending you to work on this 15 series faucet. And I'm like, huh? What is that? And I spend the next 4 hours watching YouTube videos about 15 series faucets, so that when I show up the next morning, I look at it, I know what all the components are. I know how it's supposed to work. I know the most common failures of what you would see on these particular machines. And now I don't have to do that. So that's
kind of what I meant, because I used to, and it took a while for me to get into it, because I was real young when I started. I was like 20, I think.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to get out of work. And I've told this story, plenty of times. I just wanted to get out of work, get my check, go do other things. And I never took it seriously, but I mean, I always looked up because I didn't like being embarrassed and stuff like that. So I did put in the work where I could. I just didn't apply myself, I would say, the way I should have at work. Now, I remember those days, like when I would dread going, because I'm like, I don't know what the hell I'm working on. I don't know. Like, I've never, had this issue or that issue. Like, sometimes you get these weird calls, to where now, or like I would say like halfway through or after a few years, like, I'm like, okay, like, just don't even worry about it. Don't keep yourself up all night. Wake up in the morning, go take a look at it, and you feel very comfortable.
Yeah.
Diagnosing or going through your diagnosis, because like, you do have those times where you're just so worried about it and it drives you nuts or whatever it is. And then like, there is a time where you just get comfortable, and it's like, just, I'll check whatever, I can do whatever. If I don't know something, then I'll just call tech support or whatever it is, and deal with it.
Yeah. Being confident in what you're doing, and then getting over the kind of the self-conscious embarrassment factor of, it's okay to not know what you're doing. You're not an encyclopedia. You're not super tech. You're just a person out there doing a job, and you just have to work through it.
Yeah, my dad used to would ask me about jobs and stuff, and he's like, asking me like about a job coming up, or like after I fix something, or while I'm fixing something, and I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm gonna figure it out, right?
Yeah,
That's
yeah, yeah.
the attitude you got to have.
Then people will be like, oh, Jeff, you're so smart. You know what you're doing. I'm like, really, honestly, I don't. I just kind of show up and go with the flow, and it just somehow it just seems to work out. I'm not like a genius. You just look at a piece of machine, you know how it's supposed to work, and you just wait for it to do something it's not supposed to, or not do something that it's supposed to do, and there's your answer. It just
And it's all like experience too, because you might find things like, oh, that doesn't look right, that like as far as like maybe like ice thickness on an ice machine, or like pressure wise, or fan cycle. You might see something, you're like, oh, that's never happened before, like that's not supposed to happen.
yeah.
But it used to drive my dad nuts, because he's like, what do you mean you don't know? And I'm like, I don't know, but I'm gonna figure it out.
Yeah. You don't have to know everything. You just if you can take
It's
it, you can make it.
it's because he relied on me a lot, because he doesn't do HVAC or refrigeration. So then he would panic a little bit, and he's like, okay, I trust you. Just, figure it out.
Yeah. That's all it takes.
Do you have like so you do have kids then, right? Because I was going to ask about that, because when you brought up the refrigeration side, I have the luxury of we have our own business, right? So like we've had late nights and stuff like that. Like you said, freezers, anything like that. And we used to do like a 24-hour restaurant that would drive me nuts, because they would always call like at the end of the day, like, oh, it wasn't working all day, and we just started, just decided to call you after 5 or 6.
Yeah.
And but like I said, the luxury of having our own business, we get to pick and choose. So like lately, everything's been real smooth. I don't work late or anything. I haven't even worked weekends too much recently.
Nice.
But that's the thing you have to take into consideration, because I had Craig Migliaccio on here the other week, AC Service Tech, and his thing was like, when you're younger, dive into it, have those late nights, work as much as you need to be comfortable and learn and all that. But once you have a family, or your family's growing, like your kids could be getting older and stuff like that, like that needs to be the most important thing, right? Because like I try to make everything that my kids do, spend time with them on the weekends. We do, barbecues and stuff like that, like to hang out outside and all that.
Yeah.
And that's the most important part. So like, I'm assuming that's important to you too, if you have a family and all that.
Yeah, of course. I've got one kid. I've got a 9-year-old boy. So I don't know.
Oh, mine just turned 10.
Yeah. So you know the struggle, you know the joys, you know all the stuff that goes along with it. When we were talking earlier about my coworkers having previously done a lot of refrigeration work, a lot of AC work, and whatnot. What you were just talking about is one of the big arguments they make about why we as a company should remain as much as exclusive ice machine service company as possible, because that adds to the work-life balance, where you can say, hey, no, we're not going to go out and do that call tonight. We'll see you tomorrow morning, because an ice machine not working compared to your AC not working, or your walk-in refrigerator not working, it's not as much of a priority, because 1 or 2 bags of ice can get you through to the morning, where your thousands of dollars worth of food can spoil overnight. So, and
that's why I will never get into supermarkets, or like I said, we don't do the 24-hour restaurants. Well, I don't even know if I don't know if they're still a thing or not, but 24-hour restaurants, or like Stripe. We had a Stripes account at one time, like all the gas stations, and those like sucked, the hours and stuff like that. So we try to keep it to fast food, which I've been really spoiled right now. I was telling the guys, a lot of my customers now, because we used to have one that was a breakfast type of place, or a brunch place that would open like at 6 in the morning, right?
Mm-hmm.
and they'd always want you there before, like they want you out of the kitchen before they open and stuff like that.
Of course, yeah.
So that was kind of hard on me. I'm not a morning person, but I'm a little bit spoiled right now because everybody opens like at 10. The customers I have right now. So like try to plan everything ahead of time in the morning and then get to my call like as soon as they get there. They might get there like at 9 or something like that. But like I'll never do supermarkets, or I don't want to, stuff like that where it's like, that call can come in the middle of the night. Because somebody asked me recently, like, what's an emergency call to us or anything like that. An emergency call to me, because we still get them rarely, because we try to take care of our customers, and we do like when we go to a job site and we're working like on a fryer or like a small cooler, like I'm gonna go look around and make sure nothing's icing up or walk-in boxes are acting up, make sure nothing gets called in on the weekend.
Yeah.
So an emergency call for us, like you said, is going to be a walk-in freezer or cooler, right? Because they're going to have thousands and thousands of dollars in product, even more, depending on how big it is. And then the AC for the dining area is always going to be a priority, because they will have customers that will walk out in a restaurant if the AC is not working. So those are our emergency calls, but we try to keep them to a minimum as best as we can.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of what emergency call it. Usually we just base
because they can always buy a bag of ice, but like we have customers that usually have 2 ice machines, right? They'll have one in the drive-through and then one in the dining or the lobby, which is like a self-serve, right? As long as one of them's working, they're usually pretty happy, because like they can like dump from one to the other. Like they'll try and do something. What they did, I'll say that this is kind of a mistake that they did. They never had a drive-through one, like a actual Manitowoc ice machine in the drive-through. They had a soda dispenser where they would keep filling it up with ice, and it would just dispense ice. Because in the back they had a huge Manitowoc, huge bin that would just collect ice, right? They got rid of those, and they just went to these small self-serve, the drive-through, like the all-in-one.
Yeah.
Now, what sucks with that is like if one goes down, they do kind of feel it, because like those are tiny ice machines now compared to the bigger ones that they had. Because before, like they wouldn't really care, because they had that big one in the back, and they would just keep refilling like whatever ice machine was down. So now, I mean, they want us to do it a little quicker because they don't have that luxury anymore. But like you said, they'll just go buy ice. They're gonna complain about it the whole time that you're there, but they're just gonna have to go buy ice at the gas station or anything like that. It's like it's not the end of the world.
I think it's a pricing thing too with emergency calls. So I'm on call every 4th week or something like that. So on the weekends, if somebody calls and says, "Hey, my ice machine's down," and I kind of tell them the breakdown of the prices for overtime rates on the weekend, and then the fact that we do a door-to-door service charge. So you're going to pay me to drive to your restaurant, and you're going to pay me to drive home as well. And we kind of just give me a quick breakdown of like, hey, look, if you're 45 minutes away, you're paying $250 just for me to show up, not to fix anything, just to drive there and drive home. You're already at $250. Do you want to go spend $100 in ice, and we'll see you Monday morning? What do you want to do? And then usually they're like, hey, yeah, you know what? That's a good idea. Let me go get a couple bags of ice. We'll be fine until Monday. Call them on Monday. One of their kitchen staff, figure out what the issue was, or maybe they didn't, and then we show up Monday morning and saved them $200, $300 just by more or less pushing off the emergency call. So it benefits us. I don't want to work on the weekend. I want to stay at home and hang out and relax and get ready for next week.
Yeah, you got to recharge, definitely. Yeah, we had that ice machine that I told you about with the compressor that we did. They just ended up shutting that down because it took a while to we had to get approval and all that, get the compressor and they had to buy ice because that one is in a bigger store. Like it's a little restaurant in a bigger store. It's not a standalone building. So They only had that one ice machine. It was like basically like a half store inside of there, because normally they would have two ice machines. But when we got the compressor, we got it kind of quick. We went back, I think, a couple days later. They were still using the machine as like a dispenser for the soda and all that. But the day that we went, they were really good about being out of our way. So they closed down that whole section that we got to work on the ice machine. And they had the luxury, because like I said, it was a grocery store, or inside a grocery store. So they just went and bought a whole bunch of cans of Cokes, bought some ice, and then served it that way, right?
Yeah.
Ice machines, it's not as bad as like refrigeration, where it's like it needs to be now. So
yeah, and it's super nice, and it's part of the reason why I didn't do the whole you get your experience, you jump. You know, when I was in school, my first taste of it was my instructor, right? And the instructor said, well, you're going to be the new guy. You're going to be going around. You're going to be slamming filters all day. No one's going to give you a shot. Take the first job that anyone ever offers you. You're going to make minimum wage. Doesn't matter. And he said, go in, do a year, jump. And then that's where you'll get your pay bump. And then do a year and jump. And that's where you get your pay bump. And I didn't really want to do that. And ice machines have kind of, been that kind of sweet spot where I didn't really have to jump. I kind of learned it, got good at it. Now I'm here.
Yeah, it's a good gig. If you can find a good company that you can stay at,
Yeah. And everyone I work with is super awesome. So
yeah, it's a good thing to take advantage of. And then, who knows in 10 years what will happen, but like you have that right now, and you're getting benefits from it and all that. So that's good.
Yeah, 100%.
So do your customers regularly get their equipment cleaned? So if you guys are just doing ice machines, are you doing a lot of maintenance?
Yes. Our rental ice machine program it's the cleanings are part of the package deal. You don't have to buy, a $5,000 piece of equipment. We'll come in, we'll just set it in your restaurant, and then depending on the environment, whether you're at a bar or a bakery, you're going to be on like a 3-month maintenance schedule, because those machines get dirtier a lot faster. They have the slime buildup and whatnot. And then you have, like a landscaping company where, they don't ever get any slime. And, we put them on a 6-month maintenance schedule, and their coolers are mostly used to ice down bottles of water anyways. So, they don't have to worry about like the cleanliness as much as if you were in a restaurant where the ice was going into your sodas. So it depends a lot on the maintenance schedule, depends a lot on what the ice is going to be used for, and then the location. But it's either 3 or 6 months. We have some customers that own their own equipment that they don't call us until the machine is so dirty it stops working, which those are the worst ones.
Because I was going to be my next question. What's the worst that you've seen? Because like I deal with restaurants, and they are so stingy and so like bad about the maintenance part of it. So I have some really bad ones. I don't think I've shown them yet, because like I said, I don't do a lot of them nowadays. But like you go up to it, man, and there's like slime everywhere. There could be mold. It's all black. It's like, it's pretty bad.
Yeah. Well, whatever it is, it's disgusting. And it's made me become more of a no ice, please. No ice, please. Take this drink back. It's got ice in it. I don't want it. I saw a pretty bad one on Friday. I recorded the cleaning process of it. It was pretty bad. It was at a bakery. So those places are terrible. And that was one of the places where they didn't call us until it was so dirty that it wasn't working. And they thought it was a warranty call. And I showed up because we got a call from Hashizaki that said, hey, go fix this machine. It's under warranty. We're getting calls from the customer. They don't know what's going on. And I showed up and I took off the front panel, and after going outside and puking, just joking. After looking at it, I just called the customer over, and I was like, hey, go up on this ladder, look inside that machine. I want you to see what it looks like. And then they, step up and, oh my God, it's so bad. I'm like, yeah. I was like, it's not going to be a warranty call. And if it is, I have to clean it before I can diagnose it as a warranty call,
Yeah.
because it's never going to work right being that dirty. And, whatever it is, 3.5, 4 hours later of just scrubbing slime, the machine works great. And, I don't know if they're going to stay up on it, or is this going to be a repeat thing where as long as it's working, no one cares about it.
I've seen that too many times.
Yeah, and then it stops working, and it's just because it's a lack of maintenance. And I get a lot of customers who, like, I'll say, hey, we should be here every 6 months to clean it. That's manufacturer's minimum recommendation, is have it serviced every 6 months. And then the customer will say, well, it's not dirty. Why are you here? It's just a waste of money. And it's like, it's not really, because if I'm here every 6 months, I'm spending an hour and a half. But if you wait a year, I'm spending 4 hours. So you're actually losing money, because your machine stopped working, first off. So you're losing money that way. And then, at the year mark, I'm spending 4 hours instead of an hour and a half every 6 months. So you're paying more at the end of the day anyways. Plus the wear and tear on your machine goes up, because dirty condensers, or, your machine's running with a clogged water filter, and your machine's not getting water, and things are icing up and cracking and breaking and dropping chunks of ice. So I don't know. It's, some customers are really good about it. Some people, like I said, they don't want to see you until the machine stops working.
Yeah, that's why I love hospital work. They're very adamant about getting maintenance. So
yeah,
they had their own maintenance guys doing the ice machines on one that we just got, like a contract. And they want us to do all the ice machines now on every floor. They're the fall lit ones, and it's the same thing. Like, the first trip is going to take us a lot longer just to make sure everything is good and cleaned out. And then after that, it's all about just maintaining it. Because even on the AC side or refrigeration side, anytime we talk about maintenance to a customer, it's like, like, either when it breaks down, you're going to have us out here for a lot longer just trying to clean everything, or we can get you on, like you said, like a 6 months, or like the hospital wants us out there every quarterly, so like it's every 3 months.
Yeah.
And it'll just be, we'll be in and out, we'll be out of your hair quicker, because we're just going to go in and out, just do what it needs after the initial cleaning.
Yeah.
And I think it's better like that, because you're just doing like you're just maintaining it. So
yeah, I agree with what you said about the hospitals. I've been seeing a lot of, I don't know if it's a new like health code or whatever it is, but a lot of places like senior care facilities and surgery centers and post-op centers, they're having us out every 6 months to do the full cleaning, but they're having us out every single month to do a sanitizing cycle, where all we're doing is dropping the panels, put it into clean mode, adding the sanitizer, letting the machine do its thing, maybe taking 1 or 2 panels off, cleaning those in the sink, and then just sanitizing all the surfaces, and then we're out of there. And that makes it so easy. Your 6-month maintenance, you don't ever have to deal with anything terrible. It's just kind of going through the motions. You never give anything a chance to grow, or any type of buildup, or any major issues that pop up. It's been really, really, really nice.
Yeah, man. Because like the ones that are doing it more often, that's kind of how it is too. Like every other one, or the ones that are like every month, it's not going to be like the full breakdown or cleaning or anything like that. It's just like more like sanitizing, make sure the coils are clean and stuff like that. Because the hospital does have us doing like monthly for like the walk-ins and the reach-ins, but it's just like to make sure that we're there once a month, making sure everything's good.
Yeah.
So and you answered my other questions, because I was going to ask if you eat ice when you're out. So you're a no ice guy?
I am a no ice guy. I'll tell you like this. I always ask for no ice, but if I ask for, can I get a Dr. Pepper with no ice, or a glass of water with no ice, if it shows up and it has ice in it, I'll usually be like, man, whatever. And, and I'll drink it. I'm not so picky. which strangely in my head, I've kind of come to grips with the fact of, there's so many dirty ice machines out there. It's disgusting, yes, but is it really so bad that people are like dropping over and vomiting and getting food poisoning every day? Not really. So
No, because it's been happening everywhere for so long.
yeah, if I do,
It's not until you get into the food industry do you see how bad some of the stuff is.
there are some restaurants that I go to though, and I'll look at their ice machine and just the immediate area around it, and then I'll call my wife, I'll call my in-laws, I'll call whoever, like, hey, this restaurant, this city, don't ever go there. It's terrible.
Oh man, I had one, but it's out of town, so it's not one that I'm always at. But like, I showed up, but it was for an AC call, and I pulled off because the thermostat wasn't working. Pulled the plate off to look at the batteries, and it was just infested with roaches and different things.
Yeah.
So I was like, don't ever eat there.
Yeah, and I feel bad because part of me wants to. I post some dirty ice machine videos on Instagram, and people would be like, "What's the location? Tell us the location." I'm like, I want to so bad, but I could get in trouble with this business, or potential customers might be like, "Oh, we're not going to call him because if it is bad, then he's going to out us online, and we're going to lose customers." So I don't want to name specific restaurants, but I do want to make people aware that, hey, look, this soda machine is nice, but look, 6 inches up, and your ice machine might be disgusting, and that might need some attention. Feel free to ask the restaurant, hey, when was the last time you cleaned your ice machine?
Yeah, man. And then I was gonna ask if you had ice machines at home. So you got one right behind you right there.
Yeah, I've got one right there.
Oh yeah.
And I've got that one there. I just posted a video of changing out a compressor, and that's the one that's right there behind me.
I was gonna ask if you did like if you. So is that yours though? Is it staying there?
No, so the one that's over there is mine.
Oh, okay.
That was a scrapyard rescue that I pieced together, and that's just kind of like my weekend warrior ice maker. So I never have to go buy a bag of ice. And then this one that's right over my shoulder, it was a scrapyard rescue, but my boss had kind of said like, hey, I know this one has a bad evaporator and this one has a bad compressor. My plan is just to merge them together. And I was like, yeah, I'll do it, because I've been making the YouTube videos, and I was like, yeah, it's a good opportunity to make something worth watching and kind of show what it looks like when the compressor's bad, and then show that you can fix it relatively easy, and then more or less for free, because it's trash units anyways. The customers had gotten rid of because they don't want to put $1,200 into a 10-year-old machine. They'd rather buy a new one that's under warranty, that's going to be reliable. I've got another one down here by my feet. It's an Advanco. I think they do refrigeration, but it's an ice machine. I've never worked on one before. It's our company is kind of weird. I don't agree with it, but I understand it, where we bill ourselves as the ice machine company. But if people call us and say, hey, we have a Marvel, or we have an Advanco, or we have a Blue Air, or some off-brand.
I just came across a Blue Air.
Yeah, and I think they're cool, and but the general consensus amongst my coworkers are, well, we don't want to work on those because the cheap, the internet specials you buy on Amazon, and Amazon drops them off at your front door. It's not really like a reliable piece of equipment. So if we go and we service it, it's just going to break down again, or they don't have a reliable tech support or parts depot or whatever it is. So I don't know what I'm going to do with it. I'm going to try to mess with it, but I've never worked on one before. I've never seen one out in the wild before. So it's going to be fun. I did take off the front panel. It does seem kind of cheap.
Yeah. Yeah. When I went to that's because like some restaurant that opened here, I think we were trying to do a warranty on it because we're doing a favor for some dealer that's here. But they have Blue Air. I came across like 2 of them, I think.
Yeah.
And I opened it up and I'm like, like it reminded me of like a mix of a couple of brands. And
It looks a lot like a Hashizaki, huh?
yeah, I think I mentioned that in my video. I'm like, this looks like a or it reminded me of a Hoshizaki, because I hadn't seen one in a while. I hadn't worked on a Hoshizaki in a good while. And I opened the panel, I'm like, that looks familiar. And then yeah, so you have your own ice machine back there. We do that too. We've had a ice machine that we take and it's scrap, but you can fix it. Or
Yeah.
my dad has like a really nice commercial reaching cooler at his house that he keeps all his drinks in. So those
Yeah.
are the little perks that you can fix up these things.
I rescued like a Red Bull mini fridge. I was at a gas station and I went out back to use their water hose to spray off some condenser pre-filters, and they had like a bunch of equipment just kind of like shoved in the back with like racks and some refrigerators. And I had told the guy, I was like, hey, what's up with all your scrap equipment? You're trying to get rid of it? I was like, I'll take it off your hands. I'll buy it from you. Whatever you want to do. And he was like, well, what are you going to offer? And I was like, I'll give you $100. And he was like, cool, take it, whatever. So I took it home and literally just had to clean it up a little bit, and it worked just fine. So I kind of really enjoy taking things that people have said, oh, well, this is broken, it's no good, it's not worth fixing, and then just take it home, tinker with it, take a part from this broken machine, put it in this broken machine, and boom, you got a $1,200 piece of equipment. 2 hours worth of work. So
yeah, it's a cool thing about like doing this is you get scrap and you can basically fix anything. Like a lot of people throw out a lot of good equipment.
Yeah. I mean, I understand the idea, and I kind of tell customers this too, where it's like, hey, you've got an 11, 12-year-old machine, you're going to drop $1,200 into it. What if the next thing that goes out costs you another $600? Next thing goes out costs you another $200, and then you're halfway to a new machine when you could have just went all in.
Yeah, that light switch took a while for me because I just wanted to fix everything when I started. So I was like, oh yeah, it'll cost this much. And then after a while, I'm like, you have to think of the customer too, because you're gonna spend so much on it, and it's like you gotta, I mean, be honest with them or just give them options, however you want to go about it. But yeah, some of these repairs end up costing almost as much as a new equipment, or like you're halfway there. You might as well. So
yeah,
it's a bummer. It's a bummer sometimes because I love fixing stuff, but you got to tell them like, hey, you should really consider a new unit.
I 100% agree. I try not to, actually, I refuse to tell the customer what to do. If they ask me like, well, what would you do?
Oh yeah.
Like, no, not going to go there. My job is to give you your options. But I don't want to tell you what to do. I don't want to say like, hey, this is what you should do, because if I'm wrong, then it's on me. But if you're wrong, then it's on you. If you want me to fix your 10-year-old piece of equipment, I'd be happy to do it. If you want me to install a new piece of equipment, I'll be happy to do it. But you have to make the decision. All I can do is give you your two options, the pros and cons of both, and let you ride.
Yeah, man, I'm the same way, because I just give them the options. I'm like, it's totally up to you. I am fine either way. Whatever, if you want to buy one, if you want to fix it up, I will do either one.
Yep.
All right, man. Well, we are a little over an hour. I don't want to keep you too long. This was a really great conversation. Really really enjoyed getting to know you and what you do and all that stuff. So I'll leave all your channel in the description and all that, where to find you. And
right on.
I appreciate it.
No, I appreciate you. I think what you're doing is really awesome, and I'm going to be following you, and you're going to be doing the same, and we're going to grow together, and this is awesome. It's really cool to be a part of the YouTube cable channel kind of transition. I know that's what the future is.
Yeah.
And you're really awesome. I've been watching, I think you mentioned Chris quite a few times. I've been watching him, what he's been doing for the last 7-8 years, however long he's been doing it with what's the show that they do, the overtime show with you guys. I had never watched that until probably like 3 or 4 weeks ago, I started going on, and then I think just yesterday, do they do shows on Fridays? Do you know?
Yeah, it's every Friday.
And I went on Friday, and I was like waiting, and I was like, nothing came up, and I was I don't know. It's
Oh yeah, you get used to these shows that pop up because
yeah,
it's like HVAC overtime, and there's a few other guys that do it during the week.
HVAC nights.
Yeah, I do one with Curtis and Jake, and you get used to them, and like I would watch them too because I like watching HVAC Uncensored and all those other ones too. And
Yeah.
When they miss a week, you're like, oh man, what am I going to do now?
Yeah. Curious HVAC guy. I don't remember what his first name is, but
Bill.
he's
Yeah.
hilarious. Yeah.
Oh, I love him on there. Yeah.
He's always busting jokes and saying funny stuff. So
that dude has the best comebacks, the best things to say on there.
Yeah, he's very witty.
It's just fun, man, because like what you're talking about right now, like I came into YouTube. I got to know the guys that were there, and then I got to know everybody else that's come up and doing their own channel now. So it's really cool to see everybody, and yeah, man, just keep in touch, and talk to these other guys too. And a lot of us are on Instagram too, where we kind of like message each other and comment and all that too. So
yeah,
a lot of guys are willing to just talk and chill.
Yeah, I think it's awesome that we've got this little community going on that I'm just kind of dipping my toe in the water in, and I really appreciate you reaching out to me and inviting me on and chatting and all that good stuff. It's been fun. It's been interesting. I know we had been talking about it for a while, and I was kind of like on the edge, kind of nervous, kind of not knowing what to expect. And I hope I didn't put a bad taste in your mouth with this guy is kind of unreliable or
oh no, man, I understand because I've been super busy too, and it's been hectic. So I understand that part completely, and I know we're getting into summer where a lot of guys are going to be tied up and stuff. So like, I just appreciate the time. I love your channel. I love what you've done for people that work on ice machines, because like I said, that's daunting in itself, like people that don't know how to work on them. So
yeah,
I love it. Yeah. All right, man. Well, I appreciate you for taking the time, and thanks again, man.
Right on. Thanks, Adrian.